What is going on, everybody? It is Alex coming back at you with another video, and today we are going to be doing a 2-round no trades mock draft all in one video. The Bears seconds ago just traded the #1 overall pick to the Carolina Panthers. It is in picks number 1 as is traded for number 9 as well as number 60, as well as another pick in 2024 first round and then 2025 second, and DJ Moore. I'll get my thoughts on that in just a second, but if you guys are new, would love for you guys to stick around. We're on our way to 10K, and I would love for you guys to just continue pounding the like button as well as subscribing, and then join the Discord. That's the best part of it. I get to be able to talk with you guys and have a great time over there. It's absolutely free, over 700 people. Yeah, please join. We do stuff over there like tape studies. Can't really do here on YouTube because of copyright issues, but let's get into this. Literally seconds ago, hyped up off of adrenaline right now. Obviously, I've been making this trade for a very long time. It's been, to me, the most logical thing in terms of a team that could totally vault to the first of their division, but also a team where the Bears are being able to get adequate draft capital and move down, and they got a star wide receiver out of it. We'll talk about the Bears side of it when we get to that pick, but the Panthers understood that they wanted to be able to get their signal caller. I think their roster's a little too good to be able to be in position for Caleb Williams or Drake May next year, unless you do stick with the bum QB, which, Frank Reich, you don't bring him in to give him a bum QB. So the bottom line is, who is Carolina taking at 1? We know that's probably going to be a bigger quarterback. I'm pretty sure Frank Reich has not used a quarterback or has not had a quarterback that's under 6'2" in the NFL. That, you guys can fact check me on that. That one is quoting somebody else. That's not my own information, but I do believe if you do move to 1, you do have to think about your franchise as a whole. And to me, the gap between CJ, Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson is not nearly as large as it was. And you moved up to #1 to be able to jump pretty much these teams right here and get your pick of the litter. I think that DJ Moore probably wanted out anyway. So it sucks, but you guys kept pick number 40. That is insane. Of course, you lost your #1 wide receiver while doing it, but I do have some faith in some of the guys there. So it is what it is, but really awesome to see that Carolina is able to, put some pedal to the metal, get some juice in there, and, actually be able to kick some ass in terms of being able to just move up the board. I think CJ Stroud's going to be the guy. It totally feels like a type of quarterback that Frank Reich can use properly. Kind of like the best version of Wentz, and, his accuracy is pinpoint. And it does look like that. Yeah, you look good versus throwing against air. Yeah, that's great at the combine, but it's how he did it, that precision, and it just looks so smooth and so fluid. I think that he's going to be able to work very well with Frank Reich. And, it's just great to see whether AR or CJ should go #1. I think it should be Bryce or CJ, but Anthony Richardson's so awesome. He's such a great player, especially with Frank Reich. But I do think if you are spending that next year first round pick, you're going to be going and trying to get somebody who is not going to be boom or bust year 1. And I want somebody who's going to be more useful as a pure passer. I think CJ is definitely going to be in that mold. Pick number 2. Again, we're not going to be doing trades for this 2 full rounds because I do want to factor in that pick number 60 was traded, or 61, excuse me. And this is going to be Bryce. I don't really think there's much debate on that. This pick probably will/should be traded. You can see a team like Seattle try to jump the Colts here. I mean, you could see a team like the Raiders trying to push up and be able to draft a quarterback like Anthony Richardson there as well. Don't count out the Titans, in my opinion. Don't count them out. There are definitely teams where I do think this will happen. And when I get to process this a little bit more, we could end up rocking it with a trade here. And it is what it is. I'm going to just keep it. I'm debating on switching this to have some trades in it, but we'll save that for tomorrow when I get to actually, breathe a little bit. So, yeah, I think this is the right thing to do if we are not going to be trading out of this spot, which, again, Gannon, he's used to taking first-round edge rushers. I don't think it's out of the equation to go after Will Anderson Jr. there at pick number 3. Again, we're not doing trades. Got to get that out of my head. No trades. As much as I really want to. Again, there's more videos for that to happen. I just want to be able to get this out for you. And a 2-round mock with trades is going to be a pain in the ass to get done within the allotted time frame because we're doing a video with that franchise guy in literally 1 hour from now. So, yeah, it's going to be very fun trying to squeeze all of this in. But I love you guys, and I want to make sure you guys get that content. Pick number 4 for the Colts. I don't think this is much of a debate for me anymore. Steichen knows how to use the mobility of a quarterback, and I totally think Anthony Richardson would be an amazing guy to bring that in and have that running ability. Bigger arm than Jalen Hurts. I think he has that work ethic as well, something that I totally want to see working there in Indy. That would be awesome. Pick number 5, I think Will Levis would be a great choice here. But I do know you just signed Geno to a 3-year deal. Granted, the way it's distributed is not necessarily saying you're keeping him for 3 years, but I don't think that it's also a guarantee you take a quarterback at this spot. I'd maybe wait till round 3 for maybe Hendon Hooker. Maybe you could look also at a guy who is in the Pac-12 and Tanner McKee around that range and just have a nice backup QB. I don't think you need to swing for the fences with Will Levis when you guys are known for being able to take on guys with personality concerns, and Jalen Carter is obviously a pristine piece in the draft. So love that for him. At pick number 6 for the Lions, I'm looking at guys like Devon Witherspoon here. Obviously, I know he has that dog in him. It makes total sense. Tyree Wilson's another great prospect to add in here. I do know that there's going to be good corners here at 18. That's just true. You're going to get good corners there. There's also going to be good edge rushers there. There's going to be potentially Bijan Robinson there. So there's a multitude of ways you can go. I don't think you need to say yes to one, no to another. I do think you have enough cap space you can manipulate the cap enough to bring on one of these free agent corners. But until then, I'm going to be hammering in these top corners for you. And I know for a fact I'm not going to have Devon Witherspoon or Joey Porter on the board at your pick. It's up in the air whether Christian Gonzalez would be, but I just don't think that you guys are at this point in the range to go after one of them when I'd rather be going after a corner that's guaranteed. I think Devon's going to be going higher than Joey Porter, but I like Joey Porter Jr. more. You guys get to see my board below my face. I was a big Sauce guy last year. He was my number 1 player in the draft. Obviously, JPJ, I don't have as high of a grade on him as Sauce, and deservedly so, because Sauce is really that special. But I think Devon Witherspoon's awesome. Again, he was like my corner 5 for a minute. People got mad at me, but through the process of attrition, he's moved up to my corner 2. It happens. Stuff happens. So really nice to see him there. Actually, Christian Gonzalez moved up to my corner 3. It's all really funny because people said I used to be a hater of him, but the tape doesn't lie. Tape doesn't lie, and it's nice to see that. Got players like Devon still deserve a ton of respect. He is my number 22 player in the draft, and just because he's 20 spots lower than JPJ doesn't mean that he's bad by any stretch of the imagination. He's still a very, very good corner. I just want to see that 40 time. That's the big one for me. Pick number 7 for the Raiders. Oh, this is a tough spot because to me, it's a DB or Will Levis. I do think a quarterback is in the cards. I mean, I don't see Will Levis getting past this. If you're sitting at pick 7, this is essentially a free pick as well for a quarterback. If you're out of the top 5, if he sucks, you're going to be probably back in the top 5. So it's not like you're blowing a pick necessarily. And like pick 7 has much lower value than those top 5 picks. Obviously, it's still humongous in terms of the value, right? I'm not trying to dumb that out, but it is a lower price tag because you guys know me. I wouldn't necessarily go Will Levis at this spot, but out of pure realism, you have to consider it. You have to at least consider it somewhat. And there are really good corners that you can get in round 2. There's plenty of really good players. So I think that the most constrained position in this draft is easily quarterback. The rest of the positions you can find depth. So for me, I'm going to be going after Will Levis out of Kentucky. Pick number 8. I do know that Peter Skoronski is looked at fairly favorably by the Falcons from multiple sources. That would be a very intriguing option, but I don't know if they're projecting Tyree Wilson to be available. And he's somebody who's getting top 3 hype. I don't think that's out of the question. Very, very talented player and somebody that could make a huge rise as well. It sucks to not see a bunch of combine testing numbers on him, but the tape doesn't lie, and ultimately the tape is what matters the most. Bears, so much for going the wide receiver route here. We just did a video 2 days ago. Actually, it dropped yesterday with DeWindy City. And yeah, you bet your ass I'm getting his ass back on here. We're going to be doing a new mock draft. But for the time being, you do not need a wide receiver anymore. You have three really solid wide receivers, arguably the best receiving core in the NFL. Now the thing is, you have to get an offensive lineman. Like, I feel like that's the need now. You could go an edge rusher here, but I mean, and to be fair, Myles Murphy would be awesome. I just know that you can get somebody down the board. This is a solid edge class. I would love to just tell you guys that, you can't get an edge rusher and you got to go one here. But I can guarantee you there's not going to be a good offensive lineman that's worth his weight there at pick number 54. So where I want to look is potentially a guy who can play both left tackle and right. Unfortunately, I'm not really seeing that player that I feel super comfortable with. The one that I feel the most comfortable with doing that out of the guys available who are realistic, I don't think Darnell is going to go top 10, is going to be Paris Johnson. He played right guard before moving to left tackles, so he has experience on the right side of the offensive line and experience as a guard. So you already know that he's going to have a high level of impact in the inside or on the outside. And he obviously has over 36-inch arms. Really, really good in terms of being a pure athlete. So perfectly fine selecting him there for the Bears because, also Ohio State to Ohio State right there. Obviously running a very similar system. Pick number 10 for the Eagles. Again, no trades in this. We'll be doing a trades one soon. I don't really know many teams that I would have done trades with in the first place, just based on how the board fell. Actually, I'd probably look for the Lions to move up to 3, or you could see like the Cardinals do a double down, and then I could get Will Anderson or Jalen Carter with them. We'll check that out another time. But I think if the Eagles have to stick here, you are right now trying to shop. Well, you're at least granting the permission to do trades with Darius Slay. I do think corner should be heavily on the mind. Christian Gonzalez is a great choice, but for me, I don't think you can get better than Joey Porter Jr. I really don't. He has great width as well in terms of his wingspan. He's somebody who can definitely be able to grapple and handle any wide receiver in the NFL. I would trust him against DK Metcalf. He ran in the 4.4s, which is everything that you're looking for as well. And he just has that perfect frame. To me, he is going to be a superstar at the next level. Pick number 11 for the Titans. Now, I think offensive lineman is going to be the way to go. I think if you see Peter Skoronski here, I'm not going to think twice about it. Also, if Peter Skoronski is here at 12, I'm going to take him if I'm the Texans. So, yeah, we're seeing Peter Skoronski get off the board early. We have seen the majority of my top 10 be able to already be selected. And pick number 12, man, I mean, is a guy who I would consider here at pick number 10 for the Eagles, but this edge class is super duper deep. This one, though, I'm going to be going Myles Murphy. I think that's just a slam dunk pick to be able to have somebody of that type of strength, that type of power there with that new coaching regime. So very, very intrigued with D'Amico Ryans and having Myles Murphy in there. Just that pure power, that 275 edge rusher that he's used to having. Like really, really awesome. I'm very excited to see that. Pick number 13 for the Jets. Again, we already know where we're going to be going here. It's an offensive tackle all day. Now, which one? That's up to you. I think that you can go any of these routes. I'm going to go Broderick Jones just because I think he's going to get the most hype. But you guys see my board. I have Darnell Wright and Anton Harrison above him. Although it's how many spots? Literally, technically 1 to 2 spots above him. It's down to nothing. It's like a 3 tackle tie for number 1 on my board. But for the Patriots, I mean, wide receiver definitely should be on their mind. Quentin Johnston not running the 40 might be concerning, especially with his drop issues. And Jack Smith and Jigba did an amazing job at the combine. Zay Flowers did a great job. Jordan Addison, you have legit weapons that you can take here. But, I mean, Christian Gonzalez would be a stud under Bill Belichick. We can agree to that. But I will pass on him for the time being. I think the best move for the squad would be going after an offensive tackle. I think Darnell Wright is going to get the most hype in terms of what Bill Belichick will be looking for out of an offensive lineman. And, he is smaller school from the Senior Bowl. Not smaller school, but obviously not going to be one of those offensive tackle factories. Tennessee does a good job with getting their linemen draft eligible, But I think Darnell Wright is a really special talent in terms of being 330 pounds, hypermobile, just needs to perfect his craft. And I do think it could be a sneaky pick there for the Patriots. He also plays left and right tackle, so another bonus. For pick number 15, there's some really good players here. You got Lucas Van Ness, you have Brian Branch. Like, there are some really good pieces here. I'm not factoring in Aaron Rodgers trade just yet. Obviously, if I did, then, the board would shake up a little bit, but I don't want to factor too many things in all at once. Otherwise, it gets a little bit hectic. I think Lucas Van Ness just fits too damn well into what they're looking for. It fits the defensive mold as well. So you're going to bring in somebody who's very athletic for his size and very, very, very high ceiling. Pick number 16 for Washington. I want to address offensive line or a corner position. I know you guys keep saying you don't need one, but I don't think you can deny that Christian Gonzalez would be a great value here. Definitely somebody. It is a deep corner class, but it's not that deep. Again, you look at the guards and stuff, that's probably what you're looking for. Not great unless you want to kick in someone to guard, and Darnell Wright would be probably the one dude I'd feel the most comfortable in a realistic setting kicking to pure guard. Otherwise, Anton Harrison's a great choice. But for me, honestly, I'm going to go Christian Gonzalez here. Not necessarily the biggest need in the world, but that's definitely great value at a position that costs a pretty penny. So for me, I think that's great. Also, you already know I would have taken him probably here for the Steelers, but now that we cannot do that, it's much tougher to decide because I don't want to go Deonte Banks that early, even though he'll probably go within the next 10 picks. He'll definitely go with the next 10 picks, maybe the next 5. Other corners are just not worth it at this point. A lot of them fell on my board, unfortunately, but you still see there's a nice little cluster there at the end of my top 32. Quentin Johnston's still available. I don't think it's out of the question for the Steelers to go that way, but I'd probably advise against it. To me, it's DeJuan Jones or Anton Harrison, and the only thing I'm going to check is Anton's weight. At 315, that is not bad. He's 21 years of age as well, which is great. I'm curious about DeJuan's age. Again, 21 and a half. Whoop-de-doo. So you got 180 days on the dude. But, I think DeJuan might get a little bit more hype. I also think the Steelers might be playing the long game with him as well. Anton is great. I have him above DeJuan, but again, it's a super slim margin in terms of, what are you really looking for? Anton can kick to guard in the short run. So, again, I'd go Anton. We'll go Anton. But I think DeJuan Jones might get that hype. In the realistic setting, we'll probably be going at that number 17 spot. This is going to be Bijan Robinson. I don't think there's going to be much debate here. He's somebody who probably could be going top 10. I don't think he should, especially in this running back class and free agency. But Bijan Robinson is a very talented back. There's no need to sugarcoat anything. He might be the best running back coming out of college. It's just we already are overpopulated with very talented starter level running backs in the NFL, and they can fall this way. And I think that would not be the end of the world. So at pick number 19, you could look at Brian Branch still. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. And I'd personally trade out of this spot. You could try to get offensive linemen, just kind of build your team from the ground up. But I'm going to go away from that. I think a good route to go would be that corner / just full DB route. You can see Tyree Stevenson getting up there, but his testing in the 3-cone and shuttle were just not good at all. I'm going to go after the athletic freak and Deonte Banks. I do think that's a team that can take time to develop somebody like that. It would not be a bad choice. At pick number 20 for the Seahawks. So I do think JSN and Quentin Johnston would still be excellent options here. I know y'all hate it. I know some of y'all really hate it, but it is a good choice. I'll just say this. I really like this idea of pairing up Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith. I saw it on Twitter today, and I promise you I don't force anything. This all happens live. It's nothing that I've pre-programmed. But Nolan Smith being an edge rusher on this team, because apparently he said he would love to play for Pete, as well as Jalen Carter, tell me that's not a dream scenario. So, we're going to do it. Nolan Smith is now a Seahawk. I love it. Pick number 21, we are going to be going Quentin Johnston here, adding some extra height in there with Mike Williams. Maybe Quentin Johnston doesn't need to OPI just to catch a ball, but we'll see. At least it gives Justin Herbert another weapon to use. Pick number 22, I don't think this is much of a debate either. If Jackson Smith and Jigba's on the board, we are going to take him. Pick number 23. This team is like kind of gutting itself at the moment. Darius Smith just asked for a release. Don't know if they're going to allow that. However, it does bring into question whether you guys will even have a strong edge rushing group. Now, you could look at defensive interior here. You could look at guys like BJ Ojulari to be that Zadarius Smith replacement. Aditamita Adebawore does not play very far away. This could be a good spot for him. Hyper athletic, obviously 4'9" at 282 pounds, 34-inch arms. It could be a really good spot to go. But you guys are clearing up a ton of cap room. I think you guys might be targeting a free agent corner or a trade corner. This could end up being part of a deal for Jalen Ramsey, let's say. So as the rumors might start to build, that's when I'll probably feature that in. And hey, if the rumors are starting to increase, you might be seeing it in the next couple of days on a new mock draft because obviously the whole game has changed. But looking at the corners here, I think Cam Smith is very much warranted of getting that 23rd overall pick. He defied the odds in terms of the athleticism. To me, still lower on my board, but I do believe in realism that he will be at that point in the draft. Pick number 24, I don't need to explain this very much. Brian Branch, if he's on the board, getting that slot corner would be top tier, and he has that safety versatility. Pick number 25. Jordan Addison, Zay Flowers are here. I still think that's just probably the best move for you guys. And it really doesn't matter. I'm going to go Jordan Addison because I think he had a spine injury or spine contusion that was stopping him from being able to perform as well as he could. I thought he was going to be like a 4-4 flat guy, and he just ended up almost being 4-5. Not a bad thing. It's just like you could have been better. Pick number 26 for the Cowboys. Let's see who's on the board. We've been racing through the picks. DeJuan Jones is here, and I'm very intrigued. If I'm the Cowboys, I still want to build from the ground up. And, okay, well, gotta love the fire engines in the back. But DeJuan Jones might be too good of value. They might. Zay Flowers would be awesome here. Obviously, you do potentially have a hole at tight end. Michael Mayer would be cool as well as Dalton Kincaid. So there's a lot of routes you can go, which is a very good sign for the Cowboys, is that you have multiple right choices at the spot. I think if you guys are trying to compete, you can both arm yourself for the future as well as disarm another franchise with a player like DeJuan Jones. There's just not many offensive linemen left on the board. And I see 1, 2, potentially 3 teams needing an offensive tackle. You, one, get a hyper developmental, really high ceiling offensive lineman, which is always a great thing. But also you take them away from your competitors. So it's kind of a 2-for-1 deal. You got a really good deal by doing that with CD Lamb and taking away from the Eagles. And now, you're going to be able to do that by disarming the rest of the AFC competition. So at pick number 27, I think this could be a good offensive line spot to go after Osiris Torrance. Defensive back, never out of the equation. Safety, I would be sneaky by saying Sidney Brown could sneak in at this point. I really like Sidney Brown. I think Antonio Johnson shot himself in the foot by doing the bench press because he had 8 reps of bench, which is atrocious. But I think this might be... you could also look at wide receiver here. Zay Flowers would be really fun. It depends on how they look at OBJ, but this could be a similar style of player who can play on the boundary, much smaller, but does have that swagger, does have that after the catch ability. Definitely something I'd be extremely intrigued with, and honestly, something I want to try out. So let's go Zay Flowers there for the Bills. Let's just go and add a little bit of extra juice to him. Pick number 28 for the Bengals. I know I always go Dalton Kincaid or Michael Mayer. Let's think of another option here. Of course, offensive tackle would be great. There's nothing. There's nothing. I'm sorry. There's literally nothing I can do. Corner, I don't think that's out of the equation. I think safety, you could look at Antonio Johnson or Sidney Brown here as a good option, but you could look down the board, get JL Skinner, who just tore his pec, as somebody that you can add to that safety room later on and get a really good player that just had a very unfortunate injury. But, Emmanuel Forbes would be fun. I might want to go Osiris Torrance here just because, again, you are building through the trenches. I don't think guard is the biggest area of growth, but I also don't think that it's secured in the long run. I do think that Osiris Torrance would add something very nice there. I don't really think, if I'm not mistaken, Cordell Volson is a longer term option. You have to continue building through the trenches, and this is a perfect way to do it. At pick number 29, there are 3 options that are popping into my mind here. Kalijah Cansey, which again, the reason why he'll possibly be here, he has 30-inch arms, and sometimes that just doesn't work in the NFL. Like Aaron Donald had over 32-inch arms, still does. It's not like his arms grew or shrunk, but he has enough range to make contact. Some teams might be very afraid of that. Brian Breezy still tested out very well. He's just not been as available in the past for a multitude of reasons, not that link together, but he's not on the field. So it's kind of hard to make that evaluation. Pick number 30, I think Kalijah Cansey would be a great option for the Eagles. I don't think that there's very much debate of that. It sucks to see that you might potentially need multiple corners, multiple safeties. Well, not multiple safeties, but multiple corners, another safety. But I think getting the BPA, the best player available, would be the best thing to do. And Kalijah Cansey would be an awesome choice. Now, again, we're not doing trades here because I would trade out of this pick if I'm Kansas City. But if you are sitting here, like defensive end would be awesome with Adidamia Adebawore, probably going to be the guy I select. There are some really talented tight ends in this class. There is. And a lot of teams think this is a really good tight end class. That means that they might be able to wait. But this is a team where you have Kelsey at 34 years of age. I wouldn't be surprised to deploy Dalton Kincaid in the slot. He's super consistent as a pass catcher. Like Michael Mayer is, I believe, the exact same weight as him, but I think he's a significantly worse receiver and a marginally better blocker. Like, to me, I think Dalton Kincaid would be an exact Chiefs move here. You're continuing to develop your strengths, and you're also making a succession plan because I don't think Kelsey's going to be playing when he's 37. And even if he is playing, I don't know if he's going to be at the top of his game. So this is getting a super weapon that you can play as a stand-up receiver because he's a very solid route runner. And we'll test it out. I know it's not the most popular opinion, and again, I usually go after another player, but I want to change things up a little bit, and it is possible that Patrick Mahomes is like, dude, that Dalton Kincaid guy is going to be an absolute superstar. Let's grab him. So at pick number 32, we are kicking off round number 2 with the Steelers. Defensive interior still available with Mozzie Smith. Adidamita Adebawore can kick to the inside, and he is a pretty solid run defender, except for in the Senior Bowl where he got absolutely turned around, but we'll just ignore that for the time being. Linebacker is not a bad choice either. Trenton Simpson's on the board. I would love to test him out, but I'm going to wait for the next pick to go after a linebacker just because, unless you're going Jack Campbell here, don't really think that you need to spend that draft capital on one. I do think Adidamiwa might be that type of guy that the Steelers are looking at. It's like, man, that guy has crazy potential. We can use him as an edge rusher, kick him to the inside, kind of have him be the Javon Hargrave that we used to have. And I love that length as well. So you're getting somebody who can play defensive interior. He weighs more than Kalijah Cansey, and he has 4-inch longer arms, and he ran faster and is way more explosive. Don't really know why people aren't talking about that as much, because I guess he's more designated as a pass, as like an outside, as an edge rusher, not pretty much as a 3-tech, but I do think he should be in that role in certain pass sets, and I would just love to see how his speed and his burst would just totally destroy the guards at the next level. Because if you have that gap penetration that Kalijah Cansey does, but you are also able to make contact with the offensive lineman, I don't really know how you can stop a player like that. And it's why I do think Adidamiwa could be jumping up as high as 20. He could be jumping up as high as 15. So very intriguing to see where he ends up on draft day. And we'll see as time goes on. Pick number 33, I think Michael Mayer would be a great choice for the Texans, but I also know that the tight end class is, good enough for round number 3. And when we have someone like Trenton Simpson on the board, I don't think that you can say no. His athleticism is through the charts. He just reminds me so much of what you can mold into someone like Fred Warner. And obviously, I'm pretty sure that D'Amico Ryans can do that. It's a dream fit of mine. You have him and Christian Harris there, who are both very athletic linebackers. Obviously, they might be a little redundant in that aspect, but I'm kind of hoping that they can complement each other well enough in this situation. Pick number 34. So I think that the Arizona Cardinals could be going after an offensive lineman like John Michael Schmitz, Luke Whippler here. And man, I thought I was low on John Michael Schmitz, and I'm actually apparently very high on him compared to PFF. And nobody's really talking about that, but it is what it is. We already went after an edge rusher. I do think a corner would not be a bad choice with a guy like Tyreek Stevenson here. And I think Garrett Bradbury is going to end up on the Cardinals. I really do. It makes total sense. So it's really up to you guys where you guys want to go with this. Defensive interior is always a good option as well. Mozzie Smith would be a pretty cool option if he does not end up, facing any jail time for being caught with a firearm possession. But, we've already gone after that corner or after that edge rusher position. I am going to go on a limb here and still go after a corner with Tyreek Stevenson. I think that he's an absolute baller, and my mold for him is similar to Patrick Peterson. He used to be 212 pounds, now he's to 200, but he still ran in the 4.4s. I just think that, he has a lot of wiggle room to grow, and if you have great Garrett Bradbury there, that's going to be a great choice. Even if you don't, that's still going to be a guy who's probably going to be your number one corner, and at 34, that's pretty damn good value. Pick number 35, we have Anthony Richardson. And now I'm going to get John Michael Schmitz to put at that guard spot, and I'm not going to think much about it. So, yeah, we're going to be sliding him over to offensive guard, and since he's played a center role, he can also kick back to center in case of injury. I think it's just an overall great pick for Indy. And we have gotten an edge rusher as well as an interior defensive lineman here for Seattle. I think a linebacker would not be a bad choice. I know you guys are considering bringing back Bobby Wagner, but that does not take you out of the race for a linebacker. That being said, I think Luke Whippler definitely took a big step up. Olusegun did not test very well, so he has also fallen on my board. I think Luke Whippler is awesome. Somebody that is very underrated and could be making a big jump. Steve Avila feels like more of the choice that the Seahawks would go after. I don't know why, it just feels like Steve Avila will be in a Seahawks uniform. But I'm going to go after something that I'm hoping for, and that's Luke Whippler to play offensive guard or center for you. Pick number 37 for the Rams. Yes, good players fall in the draft. That's why Michael Mayer is falling. I'll scroll down on my board as well so you guys get to see a little bit more of it. Rams, I think, if you're not going to go offense here, you could go a corner. I'm going to go Jack Campbell. You guys saw the value of a really good leader on the defense last year. In Bobby Wagner, you're going to be getting one hell of a leader who tested phenomenally there in Jack Campbell. And it sucks because I also kind of dream that he goes to the Raiders. But if the Raiders are sitting here, I think Drew Sanders would be a great choice. I really do want to continue honing in on that linebacker spot. And I don't think it's a bad thing at all. It's a very thin linebacker class. And, grabbing them early and often is never a bad thing. So grabbing them here, good choices. The Falcons. Somehow Michael Mayer is still falling. I'm not purposely doing this. It's just I haven't found a role for him. He could be this pick just to add him to Kyle Pitts. That'd be kind of ridiculous. But other options here, we've already gone after Tyree Wilson, if I'm not mistaken. They're at pick number 8, and we did. So corner definitely is on their mind. I'm looking at someone like Emmanuel Forbes as, you could use him in the slot. I wish he was not 166 pounds, but, I guess one could dream. Garrett Williams, to me, is still special. He was a top 15 guy for me coming out last year, or actually coming out during the year before his ACL tear. I think that'd be a good choice. I really do. And you can develop him for a year as he gets it back from the ACL tear. I think it'll be good by the year start as well. So I'm back to doing an old pick I used to do very often, and that is Garrett Williams to the Falcons in the second. Lo and behold, y'all still have a pick here, Carolina. So Michael Mayer might be the choice, though. I know we just lost a wide receiver 1, but, good things come to those who wait. Michael Mayer is going to be a great tight end for you. You pair him up with Tommy Tremble. Michael Mayer is just sub 250, and, he's not an elite athlete. It's not that that the measurables or anything will make him a bad player, but it definitely doesn't put him in that Gronk tier the way that we were thinking of that 270 monstrosity. So definitely have to tone our expectations a little bit. And pick number 41, Brian Breezy was the first round pick for the New Orleans Saints. I think this could be a good option to go after an edge rusher to add in because I think Marcus Davenport will be gone. You could also look at a corner because I think that Marshawn Lattimore might be up for a contract, but I think this is a great spot for a wide receiver to add into the ranks, and I think Josh Downs is just a little too good to pass on here. Pick number 42, the Titans, another team that should probably be looking at a wide receiver, but instead I'm going to be going BJ Ojulari, edge rusher, to come in and replace Bud Dupree's vacancy. So my number 7 player in the draft too. I'm not afraid to have unique opinions. It is what it is. Pick number 43. I still have Kelee Ringo on the board, by the way. Kelee Ringo is a really cool player. He's awesome, but I just don't know where he's going to land in this draft. And I have him. Where is Kelee on my board? Where the hell did I put him? There's no way I put him that high. But number 42. There we go. I think that a team like the Patriots would love Kelee Ringo. Anywho, pick number 43. This could be a great spot for Mozzie Smith, a 343-pound space eater. I think that's a good spot for him to go, and it's just a very safe pick. Continue building the defense as Deshaun Watson gets back to his normal form. Pick number 44 for the Jets. Let's look at the linebackers available. I'm tripping up on who's available. Diane Henley's just not that special to me. I'm sorry. I have Ivan Pace above him, and I really like Ivan Pace. But other positions I would target, safety, and Antonio Johnson's here. I think that if you play him in the slot, that'd be awesome. But I want to replace LaMarcus Joyner, and I think Sidney Brown would be the better guy to do that. Pick number 45 for the Patriots. You know, again, I was talking about Kelee Ringo here. I think that's a very smart idea. And we went offensive line in round number 1. And just double checking it. Yeah, Darnell Wright in round 1. We're going to go after Kelee Ringo here in round 2. Pick number 46 for the Packers. Man. I mean, we got an edge rusher in round 1. I think a safety here would not be a bad choice with Antonio Johnson. I think that's BPA. You know, you could look at a tight end as well with Darnell Washington, who deserves that type of love. Sam Laporta as well. I do think they'll go after a second-round offensive weapon here. Darnell Washington is very freaky at that size, 260 to 270 pounds. Just somebody, he doesn't leap very well. It's weird. He does it in pads very well, but he doesn't test numerically without pads very well. But I guess what really matters is the fact that he jumps over dudes in-game rather than, you know, oh, he has this vert. Pick number 47 for Washington. That would have been a nice weapon for Washington, but now looking at the offensive lineman available, you got Steve Avila here. I think that would be a very solid option. It's a safe option too. He's going to be going round 2. As much as I like it or don't, I think that's a good choice nonetheless. The Steelers. So we have addressed, did we address linebacker? We did not. We skipped on it. We got an edge rusher / interior as well as a tackle. Corner with Emmanuel Forbes might be worth it at this point. You know, we just released William Jackson, so the slot role, in my opinion, is open, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Someone who I used to take for the Steelers in the first round, hoping that he was 190 pounds, but we don't get what we hope for every time. Pick number 49 for the Lions. I think this is a good spot to go after an edge rusher, someone who I have in my top 10, and that's Felix Anudike-Uzomah. We've gotten an edge, we've gotten our corner. We've also gotten a really good running back, and now we're going to get a star at the edge rushing position. Pick number 50. So we got a corner in round number 1. I think this would be a good time to just grab a nice receiving weapon. Sam Laporta. He was my tight end 1 starting out the year. I think that he's my tight end 2 now. Because Dalton Kincaid shot up with those amazing hands that he has. Pick number 51. Yeah, Will McDonald is falling. Not normal, but it is what it is. I don't think Luke Musgrave would be a bad choice. Tank Dell would be really fun, but I do think Antonio Johnson, if he's here, it's kind of hard to pass on adding that third safety in and add some youth to that secondary as well, to the deeper secondary. So Antonio Johnson it is. He's definitely hurt his stock, by that combine performance overall, but still a very good player. Pick number 52 for the Chargers. I think this could be a very good spot to address offensive tackle with a Matthew Bergeron, but we've already addressed receiver. This team, you could look at edge rusher as well. Khalil Mack is potentially on his way out. And looking at the guys available, I think the best one would be Will McDonald. He just doesn't fit. I want to check at how much he weighs. He weighs 236. Like, man, that's really tough. That's very, very tough. So, like Keon White, I'm surprised he's dropped that much on people's boards. That is a big surprise. But, it is what it is. It's a weird position. It is a really weird position. I wouldn't put him out of the range of going after Jahmyr Gibbs or Zach Charbonnet, though. And I think the way Zach performed could put him in that range, but I'm going to give nod to Isaiah Spiller. And, man, this is a toughie. I think defensive interior wouldn't be a bad position to go with Keanu Benton. But we're actually going to go after an edge rusher here. And we're going to test to see where Will McDonald can work. He may be 236 pounds, but he also is very freaky with that length. I want to see how we could deploy him on this defense. Pick number 53. To me, this is Luke Musgrave all the way. Can't really block, but it's just the value is too good. And, it's just hard to pass up on. The corners, to me, are not necessarily that great. Pick number 54 for the Bears. We have another pick coming up soon. Wide receiver still is one of our priority positions. Just kidding, because now we have it solved. I know. Tank Dell would be really fun if you guys did not end up getting DJ Moore. So looking at other positions you go after, a corner is not out of the realm of possibility. I think a boundary corner like Eli Ricks would be really good value here. Jalen Jones would be really good value. And definitely something I'd be considering. Definitely at pick 61, we're going to be looking at a player like that. Other positions to address, running back, Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm taking that all day long. David Montgomery not going to be there. And Jahmyr Gibbs is just too good to pass on. It's tough because, the NFL draft, you don't know which way these players are going to go. Especially in this one where the running backs are so deep, you just cannot predict it. So at pick number 55, this is another team that I could see going after a wide receiver. Essentially, that's what Jahmyr Gibbs could be. But after a running back, and I might do it. Devon A-Chain still ran like a 4.3, and he's still phenomenal. You saw what he could be, and DeAndre Swift is not the feature back here. I don't really trust Zach up in the north. And again, it really irritates me because as someone who knows Zach, that is not his picture. I don't know whose man's that is, but it is not Zach Charbonnet. So, we're going to go Devon A-Chain here. And, oh my God, I just tripped up so badly. I do apologize. That is not going to be Devon A-Chain. That's on me. That's on me. So I clicked it, forgetting about the fact that we freaking took Bijan Robinson. See, I told you guys, this is live. But we're going to make a pivot here. We're going to make a pivot. I promise you. And actually, we're going Eli Ricks for the Lions. We're going a double corner route. We're going to get Eli Ricks. So Eli Ricks is off the board. For the record, Eli Ricks is off the board. Devon A-Chain is on the board. So we have the Jaguars who are up. And Jaguars, man, again, it's a team that I don't think needs that much, but I am going to look at the offensive line. Ooh, that's some slim pickings, man. That is some slim pickings. I'm going to go, how tall is Matt Bergeron? He's 6'5". I'm kicking him into guard. I'm going to do it. He also does have shorter arms, so I'm going to take Matt Bergeron and kick him into guard and see how that works. Pick number 57, we took Jordan Addison in round number 1. So at this point, boundary corner would be pretty nice. Eli Ricks is off the board. That's my fault. So unfortunately, Bears fans, I am taking Jalen Jones, who probably also would have been pick number 58. Remember, this is not Devon A-Chain. Devon A-Chain's still on the board. So we got to keep that in mind as well. That's my slip up right there. But Cowboys sitting here at pick number 58. So I do think Tank Dell would be great. Obviously, they've seen plenty of him. He is in the Texas region there in Houston. I think that'd be awesome. And he came to SMU and absolutely lit us up. Like, I saw it in person. Obviously, I go to SMU. So I think that'd be really cool. Let's go Tank Dell. Tank Dell for the Cowboys because you guys have a T.Y. Hilton role. I think that'd be great for him. Nice separator there. That'd be really fun. At pick number 59, we already went after a wide receiver in Zay Flowers in round number 1. So offensive line's still a position to look at, but we've already looked at it ad nauseum. We don't really need to anymore. I'm going to go after a defensive back here and go Jamie Robinson. Somebody who tested very well, but also had very good Senior Bowl. I have a lot of respect for Jamie Robinson, so I'm very excited to give him a little bit of love here. Pick number 60. I keep forgetting that the Steelers do not. Did we have a second Steelers pick? Why am I tripping balls? Like, we did. It was Emmanuel Forbes. Ah, man. I was like, wait a second. I just realized the Steelers weren't that good. So, yeah, RIP to my favorite team. But still, the Bengals are here. I would be potentially looking at a... you could look at a tight end here with Tucker Kraft. I don't really think that's worth it. We passed on him. We passed on a guy, and, it is what it is. But I do think a linebacker here in Dian Henley or Ivan Pace would be really cool. And I'd love to see Ivan Pace as a safety linebacker hybrid because he is 5'10". But, man, this guy is 230 pounds. And I think he's one of my favorite linebackers in the class. He's laid out guards who are running him at full speed. Tell me that's not an AFC North mentality. I'll call you out and say that you're bullshitting. So Ivan Pace is going to be a great choice here. Now, the Bears offensive lineman added. Jahmyr Gibbs added. So now we have pretty much a fully functional offense. Justin Fields has no excuses. Maybe he could complain about the tight end, but it's not a dire position at all. Corner, again, Eli Ricks off the board. That's my fault. I'll take it on the chin for you guys. Clark Phillips might be worth it. I thought he was like over 180 at the combine. He was 183. I think that he might be worth taking. Very, very explosive player. He ran on the low 4.5s, but he never played with speed. He is very intelligent, and you can kick him to safety if need be, if injuries do occur. I think that might be our best bet. Other positions to look at, you could look at pure defensive interior, right? You could look at Keanu Benton. Be a pretty good choice, actually. I actually really like that one. Let's go Keanu Benton. Yeah. Obviously plays pretty close to Chicago there at Wisco and Madison, but definitely somebody who's had a very good offseason as well. Pick number 62 for the Eagles. We have already addressed corner as well as, I believe, a defensive interior role, which is correct. So now you could look at the running back room. Zach Charbonnet would be great. Obviously, I don't really trust him up north, but when you are playing teams in DC as well as Dallas, and then where am I tripping? New York. I think you could be perfectly fine with putting Zach there as your true power back. And I do think you really do need somebody who could be a difference maker. But Tyjae Spears, Deuce Vaughn, Sean Tucker, there are dudes down the board. Other guys I would look at okay. Well, screw that selection. Other positions I would like to look at. Dude, Ivan Pace, if he were here, I would totally consider having two undersized linebackers. Dian Henley would be a good choice if you really like Dian Henley, which I'm not that huge of a fan of. I don't really see many other options. Wide receiver, Jalen Hyatt's here, which some people will say is insane, but you're on a 4.4. I think you ran a 4.4 flat, and you are super thin, and your goal is just to go deep. You got to outbeat those guys who are running 4.44. And I'm going to go here for the Eagles drafting that deep threat for sure. But that's the reason he's falling. It's he doesn't have that comparative advantage that we thought, where it's he's going to be a 4-2 wide receiver. It's going to pop up on tape. I do think that he'll have success, and I think this is a great guy to, not need Quez Watkins in the long run. It's going to be a great wide receiver and it's definitely something the Eagles should be looking to add to their roster. And at pick number 63 for the Chiefs, I think that looking at defensive interiors would be a great idea if there was actually a good one on the board, which there's not. That's very unfortunate, but we still have edge rushers here. I want to check out, what did we do with the Chiefs? We went Dalton Kincaid, so we still have plenty of really good options. Tooley performed very poorly at the combine. Very unfortunate. I do think that Keon White, in terms of that athleticism and play strength, could definitely warrant this pick. Isaiah McGuire, respect to him as well. But I think Keon White would be a great choice. So that is going to be the draft. I will go to the full results so you guys get a quick little recap here at the end. But that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm so excited for what's to come. See you on the far side.